This podcast is brought to you by the UNDP Sustainable Development Goals, taking youth on board to achieve the 2030s SDGs agenda. So, my name is Rehan Abdul Sattar, and I'll be taking you on a journey of what these SDGs are actually and why are they so important to the youth and to us, and should we ever care about these. So, to have the more information, we have taken on board an expert with us. He has over 9 years of experience associated with UNDP and other development programs in Pakistan. If you talk about an expert man, you have him with us. So he is associated with the United Nations Development Programs SDGs Unit. He has also worked with the National Rural Supports Program. He has also been into the Mary Stop Society and Aga Khan's Building and Development Service as well. So, if you talk about his education credentials, he's an expert there as well. He has done his development studies post graduation from the Institute of Development Studies UK. He is also holding another postgraduate degree in anthropology. So, please welcome Mr. Muhammad Ahmed Hasan. How
Thanks.
are you, sir?
I'm very well. Thanks for inviting me for this interesting session. And yeah.
So, when we talk about these SDGs, यूनाइटेड नेशंस तक तो हमने सुना था कि ठीक है यूनाइटेड नेशंस है, हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने भी वहाँ जाके बात कर ली, एंड एक we have the understanding United Nations Development Program. But if you talk about the SDGs, मतलब ये बला है क्या, मतलब I don't know.
Okay, basically, if you talk about SDGs in essence, they are about 17 goals, and these 17 goals talk about issues of planet, people, and prosperity. And they kind of also dig deep into issues of inequality, poverty, and climate inaction. So, the concept behind the SDGs was to leave no one behind, cover all aspects which affect socio-economic deprivation of the communities around the world. And that, in essence, that's the SDGs. And if you want to kind of dig deep into history of SDGs, like it's a long history. It has been going on since early 90s when obviously different political leaders around the world and development practitioners came together, and they wanted to kind of develop some kind of tracking mechanism to kind of really establish that how do we want to counteract poverty issues and inequality. So then Millennium Development Goals came into being, and then after that, after Millennium Development Goals, there was a Rio conference in 2012 in which different political leaders got together and different actors also got together, and they kind of thought, okay, we need to develop the post 2015 agenda which would focus on all issues which affect the society in the modern times. So yeah, that's in essence the concept.
Okay, so I've also done some research about it, and what they said that they have done a survey of around 8 million people, and they have taken the idea or the concept from them. What are the problems that they are facing? And around 193 countries have signed these SDGs, an agreement for the commitment towards a sustainable future, I must say. And it is something, very different. So before SDGs, what we were happening, what there was nothing going wrong, or it just went wrong after 2015?
Okay.
What happened there?
Okay, interestingly, before SDGs, there were Millennium Development Goals, which
Okay.
were conceived in 2000. And the issues with Millennium Development Goals were multi-pronged. And like they were segmented in 7 to 8 goals, and those were focused more on access rather than quality outputs. For instance, the Millennium Development Goals focused on issues of enrollment rather than improving quality education or enhancing quality education. They focus more on access to water rather than access to quality water. So, and then there was little ownership at the political level in different countries on the Millennium Development Goals. They were like top down driven, and they weren't really effective at the ground level. So then obviously they were reinvented and revamped and kind of paved way for transition into the Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that the Millennium Development Goals were more towards to get the ball rolling,
Yeah.
and down sustainable development goals are more complex and more formalized,
Yeah.
to keep it going for longer.
Yeah, and they cover each aspect that affect us on a modern day basis. Yeah.
Okay, so we did a little survey, and most of the students knew what sustainability meant. But when it come toward the sustainable development goals and the idea around them, they were not really aware. So sustainable planet, the concept that we are talking about a lot, is the planet should continue to do what it is supposed to do. So any particular priorities that we have for these SDGs, and why should youth be looking into them, and हमें इससे क्या मिलेगा, and why should we be curious about them?
Okay, if we talk about Pakistan or even the developing countries have immense youth pulse. I think they're about 65% of population which are in that category. So, and if you talk about different goals as well, like you talk about goal number 8 is decent work in economic growth. Goal number 4, quality education. And goal number 16, peace and justice. These are all the goals with the specific targets and indicators that focus on issues and factors or constraints that youth face on a daily basis. Youth face issues of employment, they face issues of education, they face issues of peace and security. So, obviously, these are key elements. If we kind of bridge these elements, we would be able to kind of bring youth into a platform where they could better utilize their potential. So yeah, in that way, I think youth should be pretty interested or should know more about these goals because they're specifically focused around their issues. Yeah, they face on daily life.
It could be said that it's moreover like youth are the leaders
Yeah, yeah,
of the future, and
yeah,
if they
yeah,
know about these SDGs, they'll be more able to get the decisions in the right
yeah,
direction
yeah,
and take on the right path
yeah,
for a sustainable
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
So, sustainable development goals, we see them as ideals and they're really good. But taking in consideration the current economic situation and the current scenario that we are going through, we have around 24% poverty rate reported in 2015. So, how could one, really pitch into these SDGs? And if we talk about an individual level, तो इसके ऊपर एज एन इंडिविजुअल हम कैसे इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, और इसको हम कैसे वी कैन लीवरेज ऑन इट?
Okay, it's a very interesting and like a complex question. The question itself cannot have like one answer. Like if you talk about the multi-dimensional poverty currently in Pakistan or in fact, in Sindh, the multi-dimensional poverty has gone upwards.
Yes.
So it's gone from 43.1% 2015 or 14 to 50.9% in 2019. So obviously, sustainable development goals are complex, and a lot of people say that they are also ambitious, especially for the developing countries that are faced with basic issues. They don't have access to basic amenities right now. Like people in many rural areas of Pakistan don't have proper access to water, education, or even health services, basic health services. So, but sustainable development goals can be taken as a roadmap, okay, where countries or regions like Sindh or Punjab can localize some of the indicators in their context. And over here, the role of different stakeholders is important. The role of the government, civil society, community actors, and even the individuals who are working in different areas. They can take some inspiration and guidance from these goals. Uh, I'm not too sure if you would achieve these goals by 2030 comprehensively, but at least these goals would allow us to have some kind of a roadmap or direction to kind of go forward. Yeah.
Okay, so if we are trying to communicate the SDGs in a very simple and a very layman language, how can we convince someone, and how we can get them going on this?
Okay. Yeah, okay, SGDs, the tagline of SGDs, as I mentioned before, is that like planet, people, and prosperity. Okay, our planet over the period of 10, 15 years or even more has been eroded by effect of industrialization, pollution, and commercialism, which has obviously created inequalities, which has also created issues of insecurity across the different countries or even the world itself. So obviously, we need to kind of understand that. What was your question like? I just forgot that.
So, if you can explain the SDGs
Yeah,
in a very simple
yeah,
manner to anyone,
yeah, yeah.
for example, if I am a layman and
Mm.
I do not know what are SDGs, but I know that they're going to affect them, but what are SDGs? मतलब बहुत ही एक simple से in a liner or two, how does UNDP's SDGs program portray the SDGs in a very simple language?
Okay, we need to improve our planet. We
Okay,
need to bring everybody together,
okay,
cater to issues everybody face, whether those are youth, disabled, marginalized, or living in slums, or every people. We need to bring them together and bridge the inequality gaps. That's the
okay.
essence of
So
HUD.
this sort of syncs with our podcast title that is Together for a Sustainable Future,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
seems to fit here quite rightly. So, if we talk about the performance of Pakistan, in particular Sindh, when it comes to SDGs, how has it been? क्योंकि ये 2015 in 2015 they were officially signed off, and since 2015 and we are closing 2019.
Mm.
In these 4 years, what have we achieved?
Okay, basically in 2015, when Pakistan signed up in 2016, different provinces started making their SGDs units in partnership with the provincial and planning development board. In different provinces. In Sindh in 2017, SGDs unit was established within Planning and Development Board, which provides the planning and guidance at the provincial level in Sindh. So since that period, we have been sensitizing different stakeholders, including government line departments, civil societies, and academia on SGDs. So as far as the achievement go, I think since last 4 or 5 years, to an extent we have enabled government stakeholders or government line departments to understand the SGD's targets and indicators, and in some sectors as well, government has started taking initiatives. For instance, I'll give you a couple of examples. In education sector plan, the government right now in the current education sector plan for 2019 and 24, they are starting to integrate SGD's targets and indicators in their plan. And in water also, they are also integrating issues of quality water, improved sanitation or safely managed sanitation in their plans as well. So these are some of the achievements we can talk about. Then obviously civil society are also working on different projects, and they are also aligning their goals and plans with the SDGs as well. So these are some of the achievements right now, but there are gaps as well, like data gaps and other areas of financial constraints or financial allocations, which we need to like talk about more in the future.
Okay, so how does it feel for you to be a part of something this big? And this is like saving the world ultimately, and being associated with such a huge agenda and such a big ask. So how does it feel?
I think it feels fantastic. It feels quite good to be part of this huge agenda, and obviously it's very inspiring in a way that we are like taking up goals, or we taking up an agenda which hasn't been like implemented or like talked about before. So it feels great to be part of such a good initiative. But there's long way to go to kind of achieve this uh, agenda in context of like the developing countries.
So there is an SDG goal that is zero hunger. So I was just wondering, how as an individual, how as a member of the youth, I can contribute to that particular SDGs, because what they say that katra katra darya banta hai, and you need to take your self initiatives. And in our survey, it is also found that the youth was interestingly interested to take self initiatives rather than criticizing governments. So, if you talk about this particular SDG, the zero hunger one, what can one do?
There are several things the youth can do over it. Like, for instance, talking about their academic domain, they can like start writing papers on it, or start writing blogs on specific indicators that no hunger talk about. Like within no hunger, you have issues of stunting, wasting, food insecurity, agriculture insecurity. So they can obviously pick a topic and start writing about it, and then they obviously can engage with different uh, civil society or stakeholders as well on this, like as interns and as volunteers as well. For instance, in our unit as well, since last 2 or 3 years, we have engaged different volunteers from different universities, and even currently, right now, we have like two interns from CBM working with us. So, but apart from that, they can kind of come up with small scale pilot projects in terms of like they can conduct their own citizen based scorecard surveys as well around that, and they can obviously work with different organizations there that are working on food insecurity, and then they can also sensitize them on SDGs like this goal as well, and they can act as change agent on like issues of food insecurity and stunting, wasting as well. Yeah.
You talk about volunteering and you talk about collaboration. So other NGOs or other grassroots level small organizations, can they partner up with the UNDP's SDGs program?
Yeah, they can partner up. They can like partner in terms of like reporting what they are doing right now, and we obviously have been like collaborating with these organizations since last 2 or 3 years, and they have been like reporting what they are doing around different goals, and then they can can also link them up with the government stakeholders as well to kind of come up with any new initiatives, or can they can be part of existing initiatives. For instance, right now in Sindh, there's a program called Accelerated Action Plan, which is focused on issues of stunting and wasting. And different organizations and civil society organizations are also collaborating on this on some level. So there are some initiatives which have been conducted or taken up, and youth can be part of it in some way or the other. Yeah.
Okay. So the SDGs are, quite important for the youth and for the planet as well. So if we try to, get someone on board with us, मतलब हम किसी को भी approach करते हैं and we want them to, get convinced to work with us. तो उसके लिए UNDP has, certain protocols to get other societies connected with them.
Like, can you repeat your question? Like, I didn't get
कि
it.
अगर आपके साथ जैसे कोलैबोरेशन हो रही है, कोई चीज़ हो रही है, तो उसके अंदर UNDP को कहाँ अप्रोच किया जाए, and how one can collaborate, because we have some societies in our university as well that are working on environmental factors, and surprisingly they have SDGs in their the core values as well. तो अगर वो आपको अप्रोच करना चाहें तो how they can do this?
Okay, we have a proper kind of platform which is the SDGs unit in Sin. So we have a web page as well, and we have a Facebook page, and our contact details are giving on the are given on the net. So you can contact us anytime, and we have different experts working on different areas. So we have an environment policy analyst, we have a social policy analyst, and then we have a economic policy analyst. So obviously we are happy to collaborate.
We are also, you also have to run something to change the mindset of the people.
Yeah.
And because what I've studied, and this is UNDP is trying to bring the change from bottom down, and what we have to get engaged with is to change, to bring the change from bottom up. So इस approach को हम UNDP के साथ मतलब हम कैसे we can gel in those two approaches from top down and bottom up, उसको हम कैसे we can connect?
Top down to bottom up. Can you like more elaborately?
Like UNDP is trying to get the policies into the government system, and those policies would be implemented down on the provincial level and down on the grassroots level. So why not bring the change from bottom up, get the people aware, and try to change their mindset. And if you talk about a simple SDG, that is protecting the life above land. So if we try to educate people that ठीक है, if you are throwing one plastic bag, and 40,000 people across Pakistan are throwing a plastic bag simultaneously, we are collectively throwing 40,000 bags on the street, plastic bags on the street. So इस approach को wouldn't that be faster कि हम ground up change लेकर आए rather than top bottom?
I think it should be both, because even if you look at our approach, which is like the MAPS approach, the mainstream and accelerating policy support towards SDGs, they talk about bringing different stakeholders together at the same time. We are working with the government on the policy end on a top-down level, but we are also working with all different actors as well. In those actors, you can also talk about academia or youth or students who are working on different pilot scale initiatives around issues of environment, as you talked about. And we in the past as well, we have also engaged with universities like NED in terms of like we were invited by them, and we like gave a talk about SDGs, and they kind of presented their projects they had done on different SDGs goals. So these kind of things can be done on a more consistent basis as well. And like as I mentioned before, if your university is doing any kind of such initiatives which are linked to SDGs, we would be happy to kind of discuss, and we can have like some kind of sessions or forums where these ideas could be presented, and we can post them up on our platforms. And yeah, these can be
Wonderful. So, so it's all about being together. It's
yeah,
all about being connected, and it's all about working towards a sustainable future.
yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed,
no,
for being here and enlightening us with your ideas and your concepts. Thank you very much. And this is
pleasure.
all for today's podcast. Rehan Abdul Sattar signing off.